So you were continuing to tell us about how being an investment banker helped you prepare you for your position with Hawaii Biotech.
Well, I think what the combination of investment banking, biotech money management, and biotech analysis did was to give me a perspective from the investor side of the world of what makes sense to the people who want to put their money into the biotech space. It also, I think, helped me understand what we need to do in terms of what a company needs to do to attract the eventual public capital from the public markets that all biotech companies need at some point in their life. And so I think it's helped me at least feel comfortable about where we're going, what we're trying to do with Hawaii Biotech, and what a company needs to look like to be eventually self-sufficient and successful.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about the community involvement that you folks have. What is the social mission of Hawaii Biotech?
Well, it's really interesting because for our particular industry, we can only be financially successful if we help people. We have to provide a very definite health benefit at a reasonable price, or else we're not going to be financially successful. But at the same time, if we provide a health benefit, we can make a difference in West Nile and dengue or Ebola or in cardiovascular disease or macular degeneration, the leading cause of blindness in the U.S. I believe that's a very important and, for me personally, meaningful mission. And so it marries, I think, the financial goal and the social goal into really one goal. They are not inseparable.
That's interesting because if you take a look at what has to happen, exactly what you said, to become a successful company in terms of profit, you have to help as many people as possible be protected from these plagues that can actually wipe out, communities and areas extremely quick.
And in fact, that's probably the only way that we're going to be successful is we have to have that kind of success. Technically, we have to be able to do that. And in many ways, if you focus on that, how do we actually help people? The financial part is going to fall into place. And if you look at diseases that we go after in terms of our anti-inflammatories, we're looking at some of the largest unmet medical needs that are out there today in cardiovascular disease. Half the people who have a heart attack today have normal cholesterol. Well, there's another half of this whole world in the cardiovascular area that we feel we may have an opportunity to help. We certainly have shown in animals that we can. We need to do that in people. And in order to do that in people, we come back to the capital needs that we were talking about earlier. But at the end of the day, success for us will only come if we improve people's lives.
Are you familiar with the term triple bottom line?
Well, I have heard that before, and clearly, and you can also talk about.
I'm not that familiar with it, but I just read it the other day.
Yeah. Well, I think what you need to do is make a company successful for your employees. It has to be for your shareholders, and it has to be successful for the community, the local community, and the larger community. We are trying to be an international global company. We're addressing international global diseases, not even a U.S. company, certainly not a Hawaii company in the sense of targeting only a Hawaii market. We would love to be in Hawaii because I think that there are some advantages there. But at the same time, we are addressing a larger global audience. And so the triple bottom line is to make it successful, at least in my mind, to all of those three constituencies.
Mm-hmm. Are you doing anything unique within the company in order to make that happen? Any programs you're running, or?
Well, I think that certainly the whole company is focused on the health need. The health need that's out there. But in addition to that, we believe that there is a responsibility on the part of a company like Hawaii Biotech, who has received a lot of support from Hawaii. I believe personally, and I think one of our company's missions is to look at giving back to the community in the ways that we can. We are not able to do large amounts of financial help at this point in time. But what we can do is we can help mentor kids who are interested in science, try to get them interested in it as well. we can try and go and speak and move out into the community in as many different forms as we can that can highlight the benefit of this kind of industry to Hawaii and highlight its connection to Hawaii as well. Hawaii has this long-term, I think, for many years, a history of a healing type of environment, and I think we fit right into that as well.
Can you tell maybe a story of one of these success stories you may have had with any of these children, or something that may have moved you and said, "Wow, this is really making a difference"?
Well, I think one of the other things that these kinds of companies can do, and certainly it's not just Hawaii Biotech, is that there are many people on the mainland who are from Hawaii, who are in these fields, who I think would like to come back to Hawaii. And we have a gal who spent 20 years on the mainland working in biotech companies or academic situations, who's been able to move back to Hawaii. In fact, lives down the street from us and can come back and work in Hawaii in her chosen field. I think we can do that on a much larger scale. I think that's one of the most important things that we can do to kind of recreate the fabric of Hawaii, where we've seen, I think, at least by the numbers I've read, thousands of our kind of best and brightest go to the mainland and have to stay. If you want to stay, that's great, but it would be great for them and for the rest of us if they had an opportunity to come back and work in a highly skilled field where they can be highly paid. Where, let's face it, it costs a lot of money to buy a home.
But any last words for people out there wondering how they can integrate their community work with their business?
Well, I'm a firm believer that the two go hand in hand. And I think, at least in our particular case, that the work that we've done with the community has actually helped our business. Our business certainly has to turn around and help the community. This is a community effort to make this industry work here. There's no way that we as one company could make this happen here by ourselves. And the participation of the state government, the legislature, these large institutions here that I mentioned earlier, all of that didn't happen by chance. It happens because people get involved and become enthusiastic and become believers that this will make a difference here in Hawaii. And I feel that's part of our mission as well, is to help do that.
Thanks for joining us today on Greater Good Radio. For more information or a transcript of today's show, please visit us online at greatergoodradio.com. This is your host, Evan Leong and Carrie Leong, saying please join us next time for another episode of Greater Good Radio, Hawaii.